What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Nick Fury and the Punisher. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at the Punisher and Nick Fury Gamerverse 2-pack. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, we can see Frank and Nick here in there. You've got the Punisher logo at the bottom. You've got that great 16-bit text down there. Gamerverse logos at the top. Legends there. Plenty of stuff packed in. You've got guns galore. You've got that briefcase we've seen a few times now with the money inside. Some extra hands. I see a baseball bat back there. An explosion effect down at the bottom. Flip it to the side. You get to see the video game version of Nick Fury here. Flip it to this side. You get to see the video game version of Punisher there. Flip it to the back. We can take a look at expanded images. You get to see the important information. There's your blurb. The revenge-driven vigilante Punisher and S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Nick Fury gear up to take down the criminals that run their city. Flip it back to the front. One last look. Let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the box, this is obviously packed with a lot of stuff. Now, these are easy pack-ins. You get some reuse within the pack, and no harm there. I think it makes sense. Looking at the hands specifically, you're going to see a lot of the same hands between both Nick Fury and Punisher here. And like I said, that makes sense. I got no problem there. You do have a same weapon as well. One of these machine guns is going to be the same. So you have the black version and a gray version. And then you've got a few other weapons packed in there. So I like the amount of weapons that were packed in. I also like the variety between the gray and black, just to give it a little bit of a break up there. Briefcase comes with that money stacked in. We've seen that a couple times now, right? You know, Hydra Bob has his briefcase. Madam Mask has her briefcase. Now these guys have a briefcase as well. Punisher does come with an extra head. Nick Fury, on the other hand, does not, which I kind of find interesting because this one has a very specific feature that not everybody's going to take advantage of, I suppose. So, alternate head would have made sense there. Let's take a closer look. Now, of course, I can't talk about this Punisher 2-pack without taking a look at the arcade machine that is in the display here for the review station. So, this is a very awesome set that I picked up from Prime to the First. I'll throw a link in the description below. He does all kinds of these arcade machines and vending machines and other items for your displays. And when I saw this, knowing that this 2-pack was coming out, that seemed like a no-brainer, right? So just want to shout out to Prime to the First. Great accessories, great display options. Moving in closer, we can get a look at Nick Fury here. Now, first impressions, this is a Gamerverse 2-pack. What I like, though, is these don't have a total game aesthetic. They just look like pretty cool figures, right? So even if you had no desire to build out a Gamerverse display, I think you do have the potential to have these guys elsewhere in your displays. Focusing on the head sculpt, now we only get the one, but it does look great. You've got the 5 o'clock shadow going on. Eye patch is on point. The two-tone hair came out really nice looking. The one thing here is they did sculpt in a little bit of additional space for a cigar, right? Clearly, the game, that was a thing. They're not going to include that in these packs, right? And I get that. That's a whole different argument. That's fine. That's an okay problem. Paul Harding posted that easy solution is just finding a toothpick, breaking that down to the size you want, get a brown marker, maybe an orange marker, do it up, make your own cigar. Or you can find a million people making 1/12 scale things out there, right? So you do have those options. Overall, the rest of the figure, Looks cool though. You've got all the straps, all the harnesses, holsters, belts that you could want on this figure. Belt buckles, all the buckles, I should say, are painted. You've got buttons that are painted. These little things always add just that extra little bit of detail that really makes it stand out. Now, I'm saying the buttons are painted, but if you go to the back of the figure, these pouches, the buttons are not painted, just the ones that you see in the front. For your hands, you do get a set of trigger fingers, you get a set of fists, and then you get your more expressive set of hands. You have the open hand as well as the pointing finger set. For your articulation, the head will look down to their chin, just about touching the top of the chest. Head will look up and back to there, pretty decent. You do get some rock in there, plenty of movement side to side, and all the way around. You are on a butterfly, so you do get that good back and forth motion. Arms do work all the way around. You have the upper bicep cut. You are double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm. Hinge at the wrist. For the torso, you do have your ab crunch hip swivel combo. Legs will kick up to about there. You'll go back to there and then out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee. Boot cut, hinge, and swivel at the ankle. For comparison, here he is backed up against our most recent multi-pack Nick Fury. You can see they're roughly the same height. That makes sense. They do have some very similar pieces involved in both of these figures, so I would totally expect that to be the case. Let's take a look at some head swaps. Here's a look at the multi-pack Nick Fury head sculpt on your Gamerverse. And that works. I mean, if you prefer this look, totally an option. And then the same goes for this. If you like the Gamerverse head sculpt, you want to put that on this multi-pack version. Fits perfectly, looks good. And then just so you can see them side by side. Again, both of these options work for whichever look you really want to go for. Alright, so this was actually a huge disappointment. In doing these head swaps, so the strap already ripped on the back here and the ball did pop off as well. I mean, you can see it stressed out that plastic very easily. Look, I typically don't have any issues with these figures and doing these head swaps. This is a huge disappointment. You can see some stress in that plastic there as well. This is wild. The amount of money that you spend on these packs and just sort of what you're getting for that money compared to other action figure lines. Absolutely disappointing, disheartening, frustrating to say the least for something like this to happen. It snapped in two places. You've got the weak stress plastic up there in the front as well. I really do not ever have issues with these figures like this, so maybe this is just a one-off. Hopefully this is not a sign of the quality of these two packs in general. This is one I'm very excited about. Still have Punisher to look at, and hopefully not similar situations going on over there. But yeah, this is bad. Moving over to the Punisher, we'll get a good look at Frank here. Again, head sculpt does look good. Great 5 o'clock shadow going on in there. The one thing I do notice, though, is you can see the front of the neck, the skin tone is painted. So you do get some pretty decent bleed through from the blue. That's easily hidden by the head sculpt there, but interesting to see on the front, not so much on the back. Brow looks good. You've got this really nice scrunch to the brow, that look. This is a really good look. We have a lot of Punisher figures to choose from, so I like getting these figures and adding to your options, because I may not use it on this particular figure, but it at least gives me some alternatives for my other Punisher figures. The figure itself looks pretty good. The skull, I don't see any issues with that. No sort of lines bleeding. The white paint seems to be pretty solid and in place there. Not any bleed through that is noticeable. Same with the leg down here, because this is a painted section, which, by the way, if there's a little bit of a gash there, but that's not anything super egregious. This is something that, and I've seen people post recently on Facebook groups and everything. If you don't like this white line here, it's easy to remove. You can just, use some nail polish remover, acetone, whatever your choice there, just to get that white paint off. The boots and gloves all look clean there, and then same with the belt and holsters, straps, and all looking pretty good. You do get that silver detail in there. Buttons are painted, as well as the cross section in the back here. Here's a look at our alternate head sculpt here. Another fantastic option. So if nothing else I get from this 2-pack, I've at least got 2 more really nice Punisher head sculpts. I think I'll end up using both of these, because I'm thinking about the Bushwhacker 2-pack Punisher here, which I didn't love both. They're good head sculpts, but I didn't love them, right? I think I might use this head sculpt on the Bushwhacker one. We'll check that out. And yeah, you can see this Gamerverse head sculpt on the Bushwhacker 2-pack. I like that. I like that sort of grimacing look. That is a solid combination, in my opinion. And then if you wanted to see those Bushwhacker pack heads, they'll fit on this as well. This is the one that I had on there. I like it because of the expression, but I don't totally love the look of this head sculpt. For your hands, you do get a set of fists. You get a set of trigger fingers. And then you get an open hand as well as your pointer fingers. Of course, you do get a solid assortment of weapons, which will allow you to have many options for your display, which is absolutely what you need for any Punisher figure. Of course, you do have the holster there as well. You also get the grenade and baseball bat, which, again, you want to see your Punisher figures stacked, right, with all these weapons. And, of course, some of these go to Nick Fury as well, but in this case, Nick is a little under the weather. So Punisher will be taking on the vast majority. Here's a look at your briefcase. So unlike the others, this doesn't actually have any markings on the outside. So this kind of would work for you in many ways, right? If you just need a generic briefcase, say it's closed and you just need that in a display, that gives you the option. And then you do have the cache on the inside, which is a cool touch. We also get this blast effect. We've seen this a few times now. These are fun little things you can throw throughout your display or throw in a box. I guess it just depends. For your articulation, the head will look down to there, chin touching the chest. You'll look up and back to there, so good range backwards. You do get minimal rock in there, but plenty of movement side to side and around. He is also on the butterfly, so you do get that forward and backwards motion. Plenty backwards there. Arms do work all the way around. They will go up to about there, so pretty decent range. Upper bicep cut, double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm, hinge at the wrist. For the torso, you do have that bell in there, which gives you all that great rotation. Love to see that. And then you do have the ab crunch as well down there. The belt does hinder you a little bit with that ab crunch, but not totally. Leg will kick up to about there, back to about there, and out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee, boot cut, hinge, and swivel at the ankle. For comparison, here he is backed up against our Bushwhacker 2-pack Punisher from War Journal. They are roughly the same height. That makes sense. They are sharing the same buck, so it shouldn't be any other way. This is a good comparison too. We have 2 alternate versions of Punisher. People really wanting an update of a classic Punisher on this more modern body. And then here he is backed up against one of our more classic looking Punishers on the older body. Still great figures. I love all of these. They could use the update, and I'll happily take those. And here is a quick look at the three of those side by side, just to give you a little variation from your Punishers, something a little bit older, a little more recent, and then where we are right now. What I certainly appreciate is the consistency in height, because even going back to these older Punisher figures, they are roughly the same height. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Nick Fury Punisher Gamerverse 2-pack from Marvel Legends. One that I was extremely excited about because every time they put out a Punisher figure, I'm certain to get it, and this was no exception. However, all of that excitement quickly turned into actual fury when Nick could not keep his head on. Very disappointing to see that extremely weak parts on that plastic. That ball joint in the neck snapped way too easily after just doing the quick head swaps, and then I didn't even notice the strap had broke while that was all going on until after the fact. So there's no excuse for that, right? Like, this is a $60+ 2-pack from Marvel Legends, and for something like that to happen, major disappointment. I had, other head swaps I had planned on doing. Eventually when I get the replacement for this, then I will go through and try to do those head swaps with extra caution, I suppose. And this isn't even a matter of warming up the figures or anything like that. I'm doing this quite often. It's not like I'm aggressively handling these figures. You should be able to do these head swaps for many years to come, not for a couple of minutes after opening the package. So all in all, this is a wash because I love the Punisher figure, but this Nick Fury has ruined the entire set here. Again, I hope that's not something that is going to be the case for everybody who orders this 2-pack. I like to think that I just got a bad one and it's a simple QC issue. Keep an eye on that, see how that goes across the collector community, but this will treat as an isolated incident for the moment. Anyway, folks, if you are looking for this, I do wish you luck. I hope that everything works out for you on your set. Otherwise, that's been the 2 cents. I do appreciate you checking out the video. I was debating on whether to even put this up because of what happened here with Nick Fury. But I figure it's good to give the community everything, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between, and all. So this has been the review for this Punisher Nick Fury 2-pack, and not a good one. So I appreciate you sticking it out. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.